Big Z Reviews. Knock at the Cabin is a new film from M. Night Shyamalan, based on the book by Paul Tremblay, Cabin at the End of the World, which is probably a better title. But I enjoyed this. This isn't as Shyamalan-y as some of Shyamalan's last movies. Like, it doesn't have a lot of horrible dialogue and craziness story shenanigans. And even like the filming isn't as Shyamalan-y as it can be, but it's just like a pretty tight, enjoyable thriller.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too. But my heart is broken.
Why is it broken?
Because of what I have to do today.
So I am a fan of Shyamalan, but definitely some of the stuff he can do can get on my nerves a little bit. Like, Old was pretty bad, and this is pretty good. Like I said, like there is definitely, he loves to have that, like the camera right in someone's face and have him speak almost like right to the audience. So there's a lot of that, but like the actual filming, like it didn't feel like hardcore Shyamalan. Even though like this is, again, he is self-funding all of his movies, and man, more power to him. I really respect him for that. Good films and bad films, I really respect him for believing in his craft and making it work. And this one, I think the movie is really solidified by Dave Bautista. He plays this like giant of a character of Leonard. And I suspected, like so many times any sort of movie that takes place in a cabin in the woods, you have the whole setup and that you get to know the people and everything, and they have some ominous stuff, and then like the horror starts. And this one, the movie starts like immediately with the Dave Bautista coming up to the child, Kristen Cui as Wen, and just talking to her, and it's like, oh, this isn't good, but it's kind of being nice and sweet to her. Like she's trying to catch grasshoppers, and like he helps her and talks to her, and then it's like, you're gonna have to try to convince your dads to not to let us in when we knock. And it's like you see like his other followers come up behind him, and they're all carrying like weird weapons, and she freaks out and runs back to her dad's in the cabin, and they lock all the doors and windows, and then like the little bit of the home invasion sort of stuff starts. And it's really interesting because along with Dave Bautista, you have Rupert Grint, Nikki Amuka-Bird, and Abby Quinn as the four people that I don't want to spoil anything, but the four people that have come to their cabin to ask them a question, whether they'd be willing to sacrifice one of their family members to avoid the apocalypse. And the family, the two dads are Jonathan Groff as Eric and Ben Aldridge as Andrew, and of course again Kristen Cui as Wen. And like they're like the actual, you get to see like, and in different sort of breaks throughout the movie, you get to see a little bit of the backstory for their characters, and they don't go too far with it. Like, don't go too hard with like knowing every single thing about them, but you get enough that you start to feel like they're real people. They're not just some random characters. They feel like real people, and they feel like a real family. And like you get to see like each person kind of talk a little bit about themselves before they ask the question. And I'm not spoiling anything, but it's such an interesting idea, like where a lot of apocalyptic things happen, especially recently. And like how would, like, if you were just watching TV and like you had like 4 signs of the apocalypse, and it's like, that's just a regular day now. So like when the characters start to say, see what I told you, like, and there's like a question of, well, that's not actually real, that's bullshit, but at the same time, I feel like if God did exist, he would probably like get off on the idea of making one family decide whether humanity continues existing. If you read any of the Bible, there's a lot of goofy shit in it. God is a goofy boy. He likes to pull tricks. He likes to mess around, and especially the Old Testament shit. There's so many. Of course, that's all just kind of fables, and stories told like and they guess the Jewish tradition, the oratory lessons that you also add to the Old Testament. But like there's still, if that God was real, he would enjoy having humanity's fate depending on one family deciding to sacrifice one of their members. So like there's some really fun stuff with it, and I appreciate too that it's pretty tight. Like, I mean, it's not like super short, but it doesn't overstay its welcome as well. And Dave Bautista, like, he's the whole time, he's like kind of like their leader, and he kind of speaks for them, and he is just a presence in this film that is felt through the whole length. Like, I didn't love the film, but I did really enjoy my time with it. It's a really enjoyable film. It's a tight little thriller that I had a good time with, and I would recommend. It's not. It's probably like a lesser Shyamalan, but like a lesser Shyamalan is still a great movie. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10, and I would recommend checking it out. So thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.